me change a few things on my side. All right, let's see here. Do we mute everybody, Abhishek? Mute everybody, and then we're gonna not allow anybody to have the ability to unmute themselves. That's what's going on if you see that. But don't worry, you'll get opportunities to still engage via our chat, and then at the end we'll have some Q&A, and we'll have an opportunity to make some video comments as well. We just don't want somebody accidentally unmuting. Some embarrassing conversation. So let's see. Okay. Start us on the Facebook and we'll get kicked off. Good morning and welcome to Houston Oasis. We are glad that all of you could join us both here in the Zoom and then also over on Facebook Live. We've got a great lineup for you this morning. If this is your first time engaging with Oasis in any way, shape, or form, we are a secular community that meets weekly here in Houston. Right now we're meeting virtually, so this is the best way to meet with us. Some of our core values include, oh, just a second, I've got to turn off some audio on my side. Some of our core values include people are more important than beliefs and reality is known through reason. So if those sound like good things to you, then you're in the right place. Every week we have excellent talks and excellent music, and we always kick it off with that. This week we're excited to welcome back somebody that's played for Houston Oasis before. Houston Oasis, I'd like you to welcome Glenn Ackerman and Henry Durag, the Glenn Ackerman duo. And yeah, you guys might have to unmute yourself. I think we might have. Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Go 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for having us. Hope that sounded good to you. Was the sound levels okay? Nothing's changed?
Yeah, guys, it sounded really great. And actually, I'm going to cut in before your second tune here this morning because we had some technical difficulties over on the Facebook. So just a second, I'm going to reintroduce you guys for people that may not have heard you.
Henry's last name is Dara, by the way.
Welcome to Houston Oasis, everybody. We had our first run. We had a little bit of technical difficulties with the sound. We appreciate it. Houston Oasis is a secular community that meets here in Houston, Texas every week with great music and great talks. Those of you that heard some of the music earlier, we wanted to reintroduce our musicians for you this morning, the Glenn Ackerman Duo with Glenn Ackerman and Henry Dara, or excuse me, I should say, Henry Dara on the keys. And so we'll go back over to those guys for another tune. Take it away, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. If you heard the last song we did was called Well You Needn't, super funky tune. We're going to play another upbeat, lively tune called Blues for Alice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
Okay, I think it's my turn. That was great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm audible. I am. Great. I am Joshua Richards. If anybody has forgotten my name in quarantine, I know I might have forgotten a couple of years. I'm very sorry. I have the great joy of introducing our main speaker today, who is a friend of mine and also somebody I got to know when I was going through grad school. So I'm going to go ahead and read a short bio about him and bring him on up to speak. Andrew Bennett has worked in the field of applied behavior analysis as a registered behavior technician for almost 6 years, including 3 years at the University of Houston at Clear Lake, my alma mater, as part of the grant-funded project ABA Academy for Problem Behavior, helping social education teachers develop ABA-based solutions for challenging behavior. He's part of the LoneStar LEND program with Judy Blake and was a co-facilitator of the Abuse and Assault Prevention and Education Group, Sphere of Safety at Lee College. He is also a traveler and volunteer with the nonprofit organization Global Autism Project, which supports and trains staff in ABA centers around the world. And he has done all of these things while living with autism. He didn't mention this in his bio, so I will. He is a 3rd degree black belt, and he is a voracious appreciator of music. And he's somebody who I really enjoyed getting to meet in college because he has just this real zeal for life, and he's somebody who I enjoy his company. He definitely thinks very differently about a lot of important things than I do, but he's always somebody I've really enjoyed getting to talk to. So without further ado, let's welcome my friend Andrew Bennett.
Okay. All right, everyone can see the screen. Okay. Well, as Josh said, my name is Andrew Bennett, and I do have autism, and it's an essential, important part of my life. And I've discovered more and more about how it manifests in my life over the years. And as I have grown gradually in my understanding of that, as well as grown on the quest to speak as many languages as I possibly can, I have learned to see autism just like its own little language. And it's something that people need spoken word. We just say exactly what we feel. Many organizations, such as places of worship or one faith or another, or of no faith whatsoever, in particular nowadays, are one thing that's definitely advanced. They develop formal social groups for young adults, and these sorts of things help me find community and sense of belonging. These young adult groups and other activities I am part of, like a French club, volleyball, sports groups, they've helped me maintain a strong social network and fostered authentic friendships that enhance but do not take over my life. And that's one thing that I found very important. Because in the past, I'd feel very lonely and miserable, and I realized that I could be very codependent on my friends. But lately, I've begun to start to feel much more interdependent. I feel a lot more welcomed into my social circle and respected for who I am and what my uniqueness brings to the table and to the world. This has made me significantly happier. It's a quest that I'm still on, but it's one that's growing easier day by day. Now, one thing that definitely changed all of that was the age of social distancing, which gifted me the time and chance to befriend and understand myself first, to know and own my own needs, wishes, skills, and beliefs. And I hope that everybody gets a chance to do that right now. I've long fought to find my identity in knowing others, but I've learned at last that it must come from knowing you. Something I've thought of recently in this time of solitude is that the struggle to be you is a struggle against the fear of what others think of you. But when you know and love yourself, no matter what others think of you, you can always depend on being your best friend. One other common thing that we face are what we call sensory difficulties, or struggles handling certain things that appeal to our senses. So I personally might be fixated on one noise or other stimulus, like a particular favorite song or a conversation in another language that I'm curious to try to listen to what they're saying. It kind of goes off in their head like the loud party animal that makes you forget everything everyone else said all night. I could get tired out by heat, hard surfaces, and humidity. And in Houston, we routinely have all of these. So sometimes it can be really hard in the summer. So I, in turn, like to blast my car's AC on very low to keep myself relaxed. And I often have a fan on here at home, including right now. And I can struggle when I don't have these things and I'm already stressed out. I have trouble staying in one place when seating isn't comfortable, or I'm waiting in long lines, or if I have to stand at a concert. So over time, I find it harder to be at some of these things. But like people who struggle with physical conditions to cope in their lives, I've had to learn to adapt and have the courage that we all struggle to find, to take a break, cope, or need help, ask for help when we need it. Now, I might even sometimes talk to myself or repeat sounds because they feel good, even though it kind of looks crazy to some people. I also get pretty easily fixated on things or ideas like unresolved problems, tasks, worries, and stress that I have to deal with. And it's hard for me to leave these things at the door when they overload my senses. So it might seem sometimes like I forgot or didn't listen to what you were saying or didn't care. It's really just because I wasn't able to focus on it. However, this strength of sense that can sometimes get in my way also speaks to me more powerfully than normal. It enables me to have a very keen ear for music and deep appreciation for art. And it also enables me to learn very well through experience rather than just reading directions or rote memorization. And it often makes it difficult for me to forget things. Now, one thing I find amusing when it comes to relationships is that two of the most famous relationships books are called You Just Don't Understand, and Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, because it truly reflects how much adults with autism, even more so than the general population, might struggle to understand the language of relationships, how to start and maintain them, social conventions of dating and romance. And I had very little childhood experience with relationships and emotional closeness. Only recently have I felt this change as I earnestly seek these things with everyone I know and become comfortable with vulnerability and trust in other people. This hasn't been easy because of the amount of rejection I've experienced romantically and personally and even professionally, but it gets easier the more I learn to trust people that I care about. Now, my experience with relationships, accordingly, has been the long and hard road many of us take of learning something new from many different people. I'm grateful, though, for every piece of the puzzle. Now, there's a documentary called Autism in Love about adults with autism seeking and or struggling with romance. And this always strikes me very close to home and sometimes is very difficult to watch. A parent survey on the site Spectrum News found that 67% of parents of children with autism reported their child had no interest in romance, and only 5% had ever been married. Many adults with autism actually find their limitations or barriers to an equitable and healthy relationship, and find some people have a difficult time getting past these things. The intensity of close relationships and how clearly they expose autism's challenges has been a hard battle for me. So I know that I need to have a healthy balance between a partner's support and standing on my own 2 feet, between a helper and someone who will accept me just as I am. Consider that no relationship is perfect, no matter who you are or what you have. But all relationships challenge us. They clarify our strengths and better the imperfections that everybody has. And I want people to know that autism is just one among a million possible challenges, and it should be treated the same way as all others. One that I believe is possible to not just accept, but to overcome. Now, people with autism are often famed for having very special talents drawn from their seemingly obsessive interests that you might remember from one of the most popular movies about people on the spectrum, Rain Man. Raymond had a very special talent for numbers and remembering things and was able to learn how to count cards in Vegas and make a bunch of money. Now, that's not true for everybody, but for me, there are certain special talents that I have that I've made good use of in my life. My fascination with world cultures drove me to cook food from every country. I'm about 90 countries through right now, and gave me a reputation among my friends as a great cook. And it's enabled me to pick up any language that I set my mind to. The foreign language I speak the best is French. I'm pretty conversational in it. I can speak enough Spanish and Czech to get by. And I can read limited amounts of several other languages also. I was actually able to translate for a French-speaking client at University of Houston Clear Lake's Telehealth World ABA project after just 10 months of studying. And I helped to translate for the Global Autism Project's team to Prague in July after just 7 months. And currently I'm booked to travel to Jakarta, Indonesia next year as a trip leader in training. And thus I've learned to speak Indonesian as well. No previous travel to either of these countries has ever taken up the language. And it's one thing that I'm personally proud of. Now, my intuitive sense and flow for language and the color and nuances that words, rhymes, and images carry also grants me a special talent for writing. When I was growing up, I absolutely hated writing because I didn't feel that I could communicate. And the more that I realized this special talent in me, the more confident I got. And now I've been writing poems and short stories since 2016 as a way to express very complex emotions and understand more about my own feelings and emotions and process major life challenges. And there are times when writing just pours out of me thoughtlessly, and I feel astonished that I actually wrote that, and overwhelmed emotionally, and feel a peculiar warmth and peace coming out of me. It doesn't feel like it's from me, and it's very puzzling sometimes. So you see that autism isn't just woven into my life story, but it actually helps me write it day by day. Now, it's been said occasionally that autism is one word that tells a million different stories. And perhaps my story sounds a lot like yours in some way or another. Perhaps you've always felt like you were a bit different than everyone else, and you couldn't always put your finger on it. And maybe one day you might learn why. What it is, whatever it is, maybe not autism, but something else. Everyone struggles with feeling like they're different than other people and that maybe others don't understand them. But when you do discover your uniqueness, you should never pity yourself or feel inadequate, because you have a voice like everyone else. And you deserve to be treated equally, whoever you are. You deserve to be loved and accepted because you matter. Now, me as a writer, I'm very heavily influenced by a few writers, and one of them is a more obscure Australian sci-fi author named Mark R. Healy. And he once wrote a story called After the Winter that made a deep impression on me. It was about a synthetic human being, kind of like in Blade Runner, seeking to return to his human body. And in the big plot twist in the story, he finds out that it never actually existed, and he's never going to become a human being. And this brings him an existential crisis. And then he's able to get himself out of suicidal despair with this epiphany. My creators had made me more human than even they realized. I was imperfect, flawed. I could doubt and suffer and struggle and lose my way. But I could also believe. I could still find the right path in the time I had left. I could never become human, but in all the ways that really mattered, I already was. Now, we can never stop having autism. It'll always be a part of us. But we aren't just machines built to mimic humans, but who will never be like them. They're just as fully human as all of our brothers and sisters, for better and for worse, but in all respects united by the common language of the human condition. And in a world without borders between us, where we all believe in each other's humanity and learn each other's language, people with autism won't live a mechanical existence, falling short of what it could be. But you and I will walk in abundant life together as one. Thank you, merci, dziękuję, gracias, and terima kasih.
Andrew, an excellent talk. Thank you so much. And just there's so many wonderful positive comments both here on our Zoom chat and also over on the Facebook from a lot of your friends. And there's I imagine going to be a lot of reaction and great questions for you. And so here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and we're going to do some discussion rooms in our Zoom chat. And so those will be appearing on your screen in just a second. And then if you're on the Facebook Live, that's also a great opportunity to have some discussion there on Facebook. And so let's take some time to react with each other to Andrew's talk. And then during this time, if you have questions for Andrew, write your questions down either in the Facebook Live comments or here in the Zoom chat. And in 10 minutes, we're going to come back for a little bit of Q&A. And so with that, we'll break off into our discussion. We'll see everybody back in about 10 minutes. Okay, Abhishek, you can give everybody the rundown on the Zoom stuff. I forgot to do that. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let's see. Almost there on the Facebook, just a second. All right, everybody, welcome back from our discussion rooms. We're going to enter into some Q&A. Before we do that, I want to tell you guys something about something that Andrew has organized. We're going to post a link for this in the chat. But he has organized a relief fund to help support vulnerable ABA centers around the world in the wake of COVID-19. And so we wanted to make sure to mention that and give everybody an opportunity to check out that donation. So I'm looking over here for your opportunity to donate to that. Sorry, I can't find the Zoom group chat. There it is. Okay, so I posted a link to that in the Zoom chat, and then also there's a link on our Facebook Live. And so please consider giving to that great cause as a way to support the work that Andrew is doing. With that, we do have some questions, Andrew, and in fact, we're going to start over here on Facebook Live from Grant. He's asking, who are some of your favorite authors?
That's a good question, because a lot of people that are in an artistic field have certain influences, and I've had to really think about that because I don't have that many. I've read a lot of books over and over and over and over again, rather than a wide variety of books. But I would say that the ones that I read the most were J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, which was a foundational influence on the way that I write, because the way she is able to elucidate on people's emotions and imagery, especially in one of those final chapters in the 7th book is like one of the saddest chapters in all of fiction. And just the way that she's able to build a scene and have things happening representing emotions and able to narrate, really, because I'm not necessarily the best dialogue writer. I just let people's actions and imagery and symbolism kind of tell a story. So that was very foundational, as well as Mark's stories that I mentioned earlier. He's also a musician and has his scripts written over his own original music, actually. So, and